Welcome back to another episode 5 of FLAmerica. Today I'm joined by my co-host Leo and a special guest returning for a second episode, GUGA. Today we'll be covering the great match we got to watch yesterday. Flamengo squeaked out a win in the best fashion, as well as upcoming news that we're going to be covering in future videos, as well as things to do with Gabigol, Filipe Luis' great press conference, and some important things coming up with Flamengo. How we doing, guys? How you doing, Leo and Guga? Thank you so much for coming. How you doing, Guga?
Great. Excited. Great end of the year for us. A turnaround. Chicha's gone, and our new coach is kicking ass.
Sounds great. I agree. Leo, how about you? Glad to have you
Oh,
here.
yeah, good to be here, guys. Good to see you. Doing great. Looking forward to today's conversation. Lots happening on and off the field. Lots of areas to cover in this episode and future episodes. So take it away, Rafa.
Let's do it. Let's dive right in. Yesterday, Flamengo playing away to Cuiaba, missing at least like 10 plus players through injuries and, international break and whatnot. Got to see a lot of new faces in the lineup, especially also coming off the bench. We go down 1-0 in the second half and somehow squeak out a 2-1 win. A couple of things I wanted to start out by talking about. I was really impressed the way that the team came out strong fighting, right? This is a game where, we're already qualified to the Libertadores, right? There's no real chance of us winning the Brasileirao. Cuiaba, on the other hand, they're fighting for their life to stay in the Serie A, and we come out swinging, come out hard. I think in the first 10, 15 minutes, we had at least 5 chances to score. So overall, I love the way that Filipe Luis is putting this team to attack. I think it was a technical masterclass. I think we really need to work on our finishing. That's probably the only downside that I've seen to Filipe Luis is his team, right? But other than that, I thought it was a really strong start and, amazing grit for us to squeak out a win in a match where we had no business even caring for. So, that showed great character and honor for the team. Did you have the same take, Leo?
Yeah, Rafa. But before I talk about the match, I'm going to have to correct you a little bit. I know you were 6 years old and living halfway across the world, and you don't remember 2009, okay? So odds were really low of Flamengo pulling that off, and we did. So don't treat us like that yet. Never forget, Flamengo has pulled rabbits out of a similar hat in the past, and Botafogo is renowned from Chile. So, yes, long shot, unlikely title. We're not counting on that. We have a trophy in the bag, but not over till it's over. Anyway, so talking about the match. We spoke, I think, in one of the other episodes about the oddities and peculiarities of soccer or football. Right? Yesterday had an interest factor to it. It was if you watch the first half, you gotta love the way Flamengo came off the gates, right? With full court press, intensity. Very, very elaborate, objective, audacious setup. Team was pressing. Tons of missed opportunities, like you mentioned. But it was a great first half. And yet it was 0-0. All the action as far as goals are concerned was on the second half, where we did not play well compared to the first half, in my opinion. Especially the first 30 minutes. The team dropped in performance, but the best part was that the team showed grit with the youngsters coming from the bench and was able to make a comeback. Now let's keep something in mind here, guys, and it's easy to forget. You said 10. I think it was more like 13 or 14 notable absences from the squad yesterday. But Cuiaba is fighting for relegation, okay? Yep. And this is a club that has been consistently surviving and staying on Serie A for all these years. And they're playing at home fighting for relegation. They're in the thick of it. So they have a lot to play for. Whereas Flamengo, as we know, really doesn't to a large extent. And we were able to come back with 2 goals from youth players off of great, gritty plays from some of our senior players
Yep.
First goal, Bruno Henrique from the right. Second goal, Michael from the left for the
Hmm.
youth, the youth play. So it was excellent from that perspective. And a win that shouldn't be taken for granted. Perhaps not so much for what it means on the standings,
Yeah.
caveat my 2009 comment, but what it means to the future and what the kind of personality that is being shaped up on this
Yeah,
club.
not to mention too, right? Goals coming from Guilherme, a youngster kid, and Mateus Gonçalves, another youngster kid, right? Two kids that are coming through our youth system, and two people that Filipe Luis subbed onto the field. I mean, our defensive scheme has been extremely solid, right? Small mistakes could be touched up on that will be costly if these continue. But Guga, have you been impressed in the way that Filipe Luis has been, scheming the team and really winning us games just from things he can control outside the pitch, almost like European-esque style management? What have been your thoughts so far in the last couple games?
Yeah, I was actually talking to Leo just before we went on live. Flamengo is Felipe Luis with the win that we had of Copa do Brasil. We're having a, a preseason before the preseason. We were talking, me and Leo, about that. After winning, we're having the entire month of November and December, and now we don't have the pressure. So I think he's really showing his colors and how he goes about managing, the kids that are upcoming and what we got. And this is looking awesome for the future because I don't remember having such a roster ever in the history of the club, because if we look at it, we have, the youth coming up, a great program that Flamengo has. We have the recycling of the players that come back from Europe. They're not maybe Brazilian players. They're not maybe doing so well, or Argentinian players. They're not doing so well. South American players in general. And then we also have, when we go out and we find, prime targets, players that are, they're going to cost a lot of money. So we have the material. And I think now Filipe Luis has the time to in the next 2.5 months, to put something special together. As far as the game, I'm going to be honest. I did not watch the game. I was at work, but I was following, and like it was said, Cuiaba it's a team that has grit. They come from an area of Brazil that really has no representation in soccer, and so they're very proud. It reminds me a little bit of the teams from the south, from Brazil, like Grêmio Internacional. So they're building this pride on being from the center, west part of the country. So yeah, make no mistake. They're coming to stay in the first division. So
I
yeah.
agree. I agree. And especially what you said about Flamengo building this farm/feeder system that you see in some top flight teams in Europe, like that are known, like Dortmund. You have Ajax, of course, Barcelona, which we can mention. One of our very own is being linked to Barcelona. I don't know if you guys saw that. Wesley is being linked to Barcelona. Words I never thought I'd ever say, but kudos to him. He's been playing a heck of a game. Same with Everton Araújo, making a case to be an all-out starter to start next year. It's really awesome to see, and I love how we're not only becoming just like, most Brazilian teams are just really teams, right? They're just kind of teams, and they hope to win some titles. No, we're becoming a real club and a real business, and hopefully we'll mention in future talks about it, the new stadium and whatever. But it's really feeling like we're starting to inch our way up, where we're drawing ourselves away from the current Brazilian state of affairs and starting to become almost like a European-esque club. And it gets me super excited. I know, Leo, you wanted to touch briefly on Filipe Luis's press conference after the game. Was there
That's
something that
correct.
stood out to you?
Yeah, it did, and this, these press conferences, the way they do it, and I'm glad they do it. It's a great window into the minds of the coaches and what's going on at the club. We could see that with TT, where he used a lot of words to say very little, and you can definitely see from the opposite, the very opposite with Filipe Luis. Filipe Luis approaches those conferences, and you can see a glimpse of his personality and his character. one of the things they said yesterday really stuck to me, which a reporter was asking a question about the 50-year anniversary of the 2019 Libertadores title, which was now, and asked him, how did he feel about it? What does it mean? What did that game mean to him? And his response was, listen, I'm not one that focuses on the past. I'm one that focuses on what's up next. And yes, I have the medal. I have the replica of the trophy and the jersey. They are all in a room somewhere. It's not displayed in my living room. So I don't look at it every day because I want to be thinking about what's coming next. What am I going to be winning next? And when you think about it, very very few people have that coded into their brain. You can think of people, it sends me back to people like Ayrton Senna, who used to say, the second place finisher is simply the first of the losers. That's a Senna quote. And go to Roger Federer, Muhammad Ali, the real all-time greats. They tend to have that obsession, which even champions don't necessarily have that level. So I love that. This guy, I'm telling you, I just hope that luck helps us. And what do I mean by luck? If we can avoid the level of injuries that we had this year, if we can have the time to implement his philosophy, we could be embarking on the start of a real phenomenal era for Flamengo. Jorge Jesus had that in that 1 year. But that was a year that we were not plagued by injuries, if you go back and think about it. And there's an element of luck to that. So
there is.
Let's, it really, really impressed me. I've always been impressed by Filipe Luis. Is obviously, top level intelligence, top level professional, rising so quickly and being where he is now. And maybe the gods of soccer are helping us to allow him this preseason of the preseason that GUGA mentioned. And that will set the stage nicely for going into next year, which has the most important competition the club will have ever participated in, which is the first Club World Cup on its new format, which will be a 4-year competition mirrored on the World Cup, which will be the year next. Just going back, the World Cup, whenever you have a World Cup, FIFA always does like a preparatory tournament before the World Cup to make sure that the infrastructure is right. It used to be Copa das Confederações or Confederations Cup. This is now going to be the competition that sets the stage for the World Cup in the next year. And this will be upcoming. We cannot emphasize enough how critical that is. And we talk about the European clubs not caring much about that. I'll tell you what, great. I hope they don't. Because can you just imagine what this could mean at the world stage for Flamengo? Anyway, just wanted to talk about the press conference for Filipe Luis. I encourage everybody to look every time he does a press conference, and he does so in a humble, authentic way. Very humble, very authentic, but very, very intelligent. I'm really bullish about what this could be.
Yeah, and I'm excited too. And even like GUGA mentioned, the fact that now we have the right structure, the right coach, and the right team, not only the starting lineup, but the depth of the squad is far larger than 2019. I mean, you watch the Mundial in 2019, our subs were who? Was it Behil and Lincoln? So it's like the fact that now we have two starting lineups, right? The starting lineup and another starting lineup on the bench, where in my opinion, if we took away all our starters, our bench is a top 4 team in Brazil, top 6 team in Brazil, right? So I think you're totally right in saying that GUGA. And before we get into the next topic, just want to say, everybody, please take the time to like, subscribe, share this video. It means a lot to us to help Flamengo grow to the masses, give you a little bit of an insight of what it's like being a diehard Flamengo fan from outside the United States, and to our brothers watching in Brazil. Hopefully we can touch up in the English. I need a little bit, yeah? Boom. On to the next point here, Gabigol. We talked about a little bit last episode on whether he deserves, a farewell match or not. We know that he was almost exiled from the team a little bit after his comments at the end of the Copa do Brasil final. So turns out Marcos Braz says that December 8th against Vitória and in the Maracanã, Marcos Braz has announced that that will be Gabigol's last match, and basically will probably be his farewell. What are your feelings, thoughts around that, Guga? Do you think it's deserved? Do you think this is kind of left like a bittersweet taste, or do you think just what are your thoughts on that?
So I'm gonna gather the thoughts that I've had listening to Leo, and and think really about the future, right? So if I think about Gabigol and Marcos Braz, I think that's the past, and I think that's a great. You mentioned Wallace and how Barcelona is looking at him, and this is, I think this is the new Flamengo, and I'm looking forward to that. And Filipe Luis, you know, uh, is the personification of this new Flamengo. That's how I understand. So just like it was said, I don't want to focus on the past. The past was great, but really I'm worried about the next game we're going to play, the time we have to prepare. So I think Gabigol deserves his farewell, and he'll get one. The little soap opera that we've watched for the last month between Marcos Braz and Gabigol, it's going to be over soon for both of them, and we're going to move forward. And this moving forward, I want to reference an interview that I saw by Wallace this week, and he talked about how he prepares, how he has a Wesley, not Wallace, is Wesley, right?
Wesley, yep.
Yeah,
Wesley,
I'm
yep.
sorry.
No
Yes,
worries.
yes. So where he has a staff that he has hired, and they look at his video as soon as the game is over. By the time that he gets home, he sits with these people through video conference call, go play by play, right? So this is a new thing, right? This is if you want to be competitive, you got to be focused. You're not focusing the pagode, the party after that you're going to go. You're focused, 24/7 if you want to play for Flamengo, to sharpen your game. So I'm not surprised that he's taking a quantum leap from where. That's why we say we're surprised, but now the tools that we have nowadays, and the smart people, because it takes smart people to see and have the vision, and instead of going to the pagode and be worried about posting on social media, you're focusing on improve your game. And I saw that from Vinicius Junior when he got to Real Madrid. He started working out just like Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think these people, these very successful people, are setting up the bar higher. Okay. And that's all across the world through the tools that we have. Now we can watch videos, we can watch what other athletes are doing. So we're like amplifying each other if we choose. But it's going to take a brain. It's going to take somebody with, being smart, being focused, knowing what they want. So, as far as goes, he deserves his farewell game. But that's what's going to be. It's going to be a farewell game because I am also, as a fan, looking forward to what's coming next. And Marcos Braz is obviously had its value, because it's not easy to navigate those waters in Gavia, and in Brazilian soccer. But I'm all about next year's Mundial.
Love it, love it. And I'm locked in too. I think we're all extremely excited. It's never been the best time to be a Flamengo fan. So for those fans of other clubs that have been, struggling and searching for a new home, we'll take you with open arms. Especially Botafogo fans after they bottle this championship. I'll be excited to watch Botafogo against Palmeiras in 2 weeks. Palmeiras only 2 points behind. Botafogo tied their last two games. I feel like I'm having deja vu, if you know what I'm saying. But
You are.
anyways, for future topics, we're going to cover the Flamengo elections, transfer window, the new stadium. And, before we head out really quickly, I wanted to introduce test out a new segment Call it quick fire, Flamengo quick fire. I'm going to shoot you guys 3 quick fire questions. I don't want long explanation. I want from the heart, authentic answers. Shoot me back an answer quick. All right, Guga, you're going to go first. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's turn up this music just a little bit. All right, Guga, if you could bring one Flamengo legend back to play in their prime right now for this team next season, who would it be and why?
Zico. No need for explanation.
Love it. All right, Leo, if you could bring one Flamengo legend back to play in their prime, who would it be and why?
Rafa, Guga and I are from the 80s generation, man. You're gonna get 100% Zico answer. You're gonna get 100% answer.
Maybe next episode I'll say not Zico.
That's probably what you should have asked.
All right. What is the one key area Flamengo must fix to win titles next season that we weren't able to fix this year? Guga.
I think our midfield, we can improve in midfield.
Love it. Leo, one key area Flamengo must fix so we can win all the titles next year. What is it?
We're gonna need a backup striker for Pedro, and hopefully we're not going to be dealing with the amount of injuries that we did this year.
Love it.
And that we have the coach that we need.
Awesome. And my last
let me correct myself. Yes, a forward. Forget about midfield. We need somebody to cover Gabigol's leaving.
Love it. Awesome. Last one, and I learned from the first question I asked, so let me actually edit this one. What's your favorite Flamengo moment in history? 2019 doesn't count. Or 1981, actually.
Okay. So that would be for me 2009. We hadn't won anything in a long, long time. I mean, we hadn't won a Brasileirao since 92. I took a flight here on Friday to be there on Sunday for the game and against Grêmio. And in the other match was Internacional, and we won. And in the second half, Magro Giasso scored, and Angelim, and that was a great moment for me.
Love it. Leo, how about you? No 2019 or 1981?
Right. So I'll pick. I have several to pick. I'm going to pick one that I was at the stadium. It was the first match of the 1992 Brazilian League final against a favorite Botafogo, who, of course, choked on the final. And Flamengo beat them 3-0 when all of the experts were expecting Flamengo to lose, and we destroyed.
Love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, Guga. Thank you, Leo. Again, always a pleasure. We hope y'all continue to tune in, like, subscribe, share, and this is only going to continue getting better, guys. God bless everyone, and saudações rubro-negras.
Thank you, guys. Great